What do we got? Hudson Pacific. Hudson Pacific Properties. Ah, they may be a real estate investment trust, which I have often called a REIT, and I think I've actually been pronouncing that incorrectly. Rate? I've heard people pronounce it rate before. I honestly don't know what's correct. I mean, when you're pronouncing an acronym, you know, is there really any correct pronunciation? I mean, really? But yes, it is a rate, whatever have you. It is a real estate investment trust. Owns office and studio properties totaling 19 million square feet, including land for development. Focusing on premier West Coast epicenters of innovation, media, and technology. That typically means San Francisco. Its anchor tenants include Fortune 500 leading growth companies such as Netflix, Google, Square, Uber, NFL Enterprises. So, probably some Silicon Valley in there also. Earnings isn't bad. I would like to see more growth there, but that was a little bit. There's a little bit in the quarterly chart, but these earnings are razor thin, especially in 2020. Actually, they weren't in previous years. I wonder why in 2020, and I wonder why it seems to be continuing into 2021. Is Hudson Pacific Properties in trouble? Yes. They are apparently also doubling down on Hollywood. I want to read all of these. These are all very interesting. Unveils plan for new hybrid mass timber office building. I don't know what all those words are supposed to mean when put together. And I don't really have time to find out. I don't care enough. Oh, interesting. Wow, it took a COVID dip and never really recovered. Interesting. So I wonder if these new razor thin revenues are due to COVID somehow. I mean, I know this can't be due to eviction moratoriums, can it? No, because they don't have residential clients. They own office buildings. Unless companies like Netflix, Google, Square, and Uber are saying they are encountering financial hardships due to COVID and are applying for eviction moratoriums and not paying their rent. Dude, if that's a thing, that is completely ridiculous. But like that's the only reason why I can explain this. Hold on, let's see if these articles have something else. Battling a headwind these days with return to the office up in the air. The office real estate occupancy level. Ooh, you know what? No, that's it. You know what? Never mind. That also makes sense. Because a lot of companies are finding out that they don't need all these big fancy office buildings. They can drop a couple of them and just have you work from home, and they can be just as, if not more efficient than being in the office. Because any downside there is for people having been work at home, the money loss from that is potentially recouped from, you know, not having to pay for these properties. Make moves to expand its global studio platform. So studio, does it mean like a Hollywood studio? Like a movie studio? Does it own movie studios? This is going to take me to the Fool's site. No, it's going to be to Million Acres. Well, it's part of Molly Fool. Star Wagons and Zeo Studio Services. I mean, that sounds like movie studios. Luxury and multicast trailers, high quality makeup, wardrobe production, and other stylized trailers. Specialized trailers. Huh. It owns office building and movie studios. Well, the land that movie studios are on doesn't own the studios outright. But I guess the studios rent the lots. Office space and related assets. Did you see that? Isn't an actual company out there called Office Space? Wow, that's kind of wild to think about. Okay. So yes, that return to the office is a very good point that article made, and I could easily use that as the one argument for why this may have trouble recovering in the future. And I kind of want to give it a sell just for that reason. Well, no. Okay, no. Counterpoint. Counterpoint that there has been some pushback from companies to return to the office. Will big tech companies like Google and Uber do that? I honestly don't know. I know a lot of New York companies have been pushing for that. Actually, would big tech companies do that? No, a lot of them are really choosing to go all remote. I was kind of thinking I would give this a hold, because if people do start return, it's going to start taking off, but and you can kind of toss in the argument that it's kind of got nowhere lower to go. Potentially, but will that return actually happen? Will the exodus from the office, in fact, be accelerated? You know, once more and more people say, hey, we're going to go all work from home, and then other companies are going to point to them and say, like, hey, why can't we be work from home too? And now you have more and more. I can see that snowballing a little bit. In fact, you kind of see it happening already. The companies that are pushing for back to the office work, they're getting pushback from their employees. We don't want to do that. I can very easily quit this job and go to that company over there, which will let me work from home all the time. So if you want my employment, what do you have to offer me for me to stay with you? And that combined with an employment shortage, you kind of got employers by the balls. You know, I think I'm going with the sell. I think think that the days of big fancy office buildings may be a thing of the past. Calling it here. Movie studios are another thing. Their movie studio properties could still, you know, rake in some money, but who knows what percentage of their revenue stream that is compared to their office properties. I honestly don't know. Actually, there is something in Yahoo Finance that breaks that down, I think. I don't remember where you find it. I know I've seen it before. Was it in Yahoo Finance? It was somewhere. I don't remember where. I don't remember where I've seen that. I've seen that before, where it like breaks down the different companies and how they contribute to the valuation of the different subsidiaries or businesses, and how they valued and how they contribute to the value of a company. I've seen it before. Where have I seen that? Might be on my brokerage platform, and not in Yahoo Finance or any other informational platform. Anyway, yeah, yeah. Sell.